Today we are going to do Azure Firewall. So basically Azure Firewall is used to protect your network, and it is also used to control your traffic, right? So let's suppose I want that to stop google.com or to yahoo.com, right? So through the network security group, yeah, I can't do that. In a network security group, there is no feature to control the traffic on behalf of the URL. We can control the traffic on behalf of IP address, right? But in Azure Firewall, in Azure Firewall, you can control the traffic on the behalf of URL also. So what is the diagram or design of Azure Firewall? Let's suppose this is your network of VNet 10.0.0.0/16, and within this network you have a subnet. Subnet name is VM subnet, and within that you have a virtual machine. So I have one VM within this subnet, VM1. As soon as you will create the VM, this VM have the reachability to internet by default. By the Azure system, it have the reachability to internet. So from the internet, you can connect this VM, and you can also open the yahoo.com or google.com. But I wanted to control the traffic. I wanted to basically block the default connection to the internet. For that, you will use a firewall. So what you will do, you will create another subnet. Subnet name must be Azure Firewall subnet. It is mandatory. If you want to create a firewall, then your subnet name must be Azure Firewall subnet. It is mandatory. And then within that, you will create a firewall. So this is the firewall. Firewall have basically two interfaces. One interface is called internal. So this is the internal interface. Internal interface have the internal or local IP address, right? Firewall have another interface also, that is called a external interface. External interface have the public IP address, and it is connected to internet. So we will basically first will create a network, then we'll create a subnet, VM subnet, then we'll create a VM. And after then we will connect the VM, we will check the connectivity and routing, and then after we will create a firewall, right? So do the same, go to the portal, we'll create a virtual machine. Okay, I have already VM created by default. I think I have already VM. So we'll use the same VM, we'll not create a new VM. This VM AJDU test VM1 will delete this one. It is basically created in HTTPS, and it is taking longer time. So I will not going to use this one. We'll delete this VM. And we'll create a new brand new VM. So go to the Azure virtual machine and then create a new resource group. Resource group name, I am giving resource group name firewall RG. And I am going to create this resource group in East Asia. Virtual machine name would be VM1. And I'm going to create in East Asia or South India. Anyway, so I'm going to create in South India. South India. South India. Availability zone none. Windows 2012 R2 data center, that's fine. And the size B1 S, 1 CPU, 1 GB of memory. Username, VM admin, password. Then next, standard HTTP networking. It will create one new network, that's fine. That's fine, we'll review and create. It is creating. So we have completed Azure Identity Management, Azure VM, VM backup, restore, storage account, right? Load balancing, network, and network security. Today we are going to do Azure Firewall. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Today we have the 8th lecture. Okay, VM is created. Click on go to resource. And this VM have the public IP address, right? So I can connect the VM from the internet. So from my local system, I can connect this VM. Provide the username and password. VM admin is the username. And this could be the password. Click on yes. Okay, so now I have connected to VM. Why? Basically, how I am able to connect this VM? First reason is that I have a public IP, and second reason is that this VM have the reachability to internet. This VM have the route, default route to reach to the internet. So if you go to the network interface and scroll down at the effective routes, you can see that there is a default route is created here, default route by the system, and 0.0.0 going to internet. Due to this route only, I am able to connect this VM, and within the VM, I also able to open the Internet Explorer. So if I try to open the Internet Explorer and open any website, I could able to do that. Okay, it's not working. Open this Internet Explorer. See, I am able to open the google.com, right? So why it is basically working? Because there is a route is there, this route, due to this route only. So if I will stop this route or if I will change this route, then the VM will not able to open any website. The same I wanted to basically do by the firewall. So what I will do, I will create a new firewall to control the traffic, How you can do that? So go to the firewall here or go to the network. This is your network, firewall RJ VNet, this network. And within this network, you have this virtual machine, right? An IP address is 10.1.0.0/16. So IP address of the VM is the same. Now I am going to create a firewall. So as I told you, firewall need a separate subnet, and subnet name must be Azure Firewall subnet. So we'll create a new subnet altogether. Click on subnet and we'll create a new subnet. Subnet name Azure Firewall subnet. That's it. Click add. Good. Now I can deploy the firewall. So click on firewall, click on here to go to the firewall. Select your resource group, select the name of the firewall here. So AZ firewall, then location. So this VM I have in South India. So the firewall location is also in the same location, South India. There are two types of firewall tier, standard and premium. Standard is basically lower cost. So we'll choose the standard and we'll also use the firewall policy. So we'll create a new policy for the firewall, FW policy in the same location, South India. Then choose a network. I have already network, right? So we'll select the same network, firewall RJ VNet. And as I told you, firewall have two interface. One is the internal, another is external. External have the public IP. So you also give a public IP address to firewall, FW PIP public IP. Click OK, and then review and create. That's it. So it will create one new firewall within your network. Are you getting today's lecture or not? Nutan and Pratyusha, is it fine? Do you have any question?
Sir, but we don't mention like IP and we don't mention the policy, like just we are naming it.
Yeah, just you need to name it. That's it. Microsoft automatically create the policy and automatically create the firewall also.
Okay.
Take some time to create the firewall. Okay. So now firewall also created. So this is your firewall and this is the policy, right? The name of the policy. This is a firewall private IP. So we can note down this one. What is the private IP address of the firewall? You can also note down firewall public IP address. So firewall public IP, this is firewall public IP address name. Go inside and then you can find the public IP. So that also you can keep it. So this is firewall private IP and this is the firewall public IP. So you have the firewall your network, but still you have connected this VM, right? There is no problem in that. And you also able to access the yahoo.com or google.com, meaning that you have a firewall in network, but still you are not able to control the traffic, right? So there is a some missing. You have to do that. What we will do? You need to create a route table. You need to create a route table. Route table is a collection of route, and within the route table you need to create a new route. Create a new route. And what is the route? Inside that you can mention that 0.0.0/0. It means all the traffic. 0.0/0 means all the traffic should go to virtual appliance. Virtual appliance. Firewall will come under the virtual appliance, right? And here you can mention the firewall private IP address. Firewall private IP. So that you need to do. After then, you should apply this route table on the subnet, VM subnet. Apply this route table on VM subnet. So first you will create a route table. This is a route. And then you will create a new route. And then you can apply the route table on the VM subnet, right? So after then, all your traffic from this subnet will go to the firewall internal interface, and all the traffic basically allow or deny as per the firewall rule. So we'll create a route table. How you can create? In a search, type the route. You can see there is a route tables. Click on that and create a route table from here. Give the resource group name. I have resource group firewall RG and location South India. Internet route table. This is my route table. Review and create. So you have route table created, internet route table. Within that you need to create a routes. Add, give the route name, internet traffic control. And then here address prefix is the IP address, and it should be 0.0.0, all the traffic, right? Going to next hop should be virtual appliance. Firewall come under virtual appliance. So select the virtual appliance, and the next hop address should be firewall private IP address. This one. Next hop should be firewall private IP address. Then click add. So now it is created, right? So internet route is created. After then, you need to apply. So we have created route table, we have created route. Now you should apply this route table to VM subnet. How you can do that? Here, click on subnet, click on associate, and the same route table you can apply on your subnet. So this is my network. Within that, I have a subnet. Subnet name is default subnet. You can select that and click OK. So subnet now have the internet route. If you go to the subnet, how you can go to the subnet, go to the network, then go to your firewall, or just go to your network, then go to the subnet. Here you can see this is default subnet, and now you have internet route table apply on this subnet. Within this subnet, you have a VM, right? So as per the internet route table, now all the traffic going to the firewall is disabled. So this route is disabled now. This is inactive now. This route is now inactive. And this route is active. So all the traffic is not going to here, not going to direct internet, it's going to the firewall. And by default, all traffic on firewall is denied. All traffic on the firewall are blocked. So the VM is automatically disconnected. You can see automatically disconnected because traffic going to the firewall and it is dropped, blocked. And if you verify to the route table, go to the virtual machine, go to the VM1, go to networking. At the bottom, effective routes. You can see here now the default route is invalid. This is invalid. And new route 0.0 is valid, active. Going to the firewall, virtual appliance is a firewall, and firewall private IP address, right? And this is why due to your route table. That's why all the traffic going to the firewall, and on the firewall, all the traffic is blocked. So I am not able to basically connect the VM. If you try to connect the VM, now you are not able to connect. See, it is not connecting. So if you want to connect this VM, then you need to create a netting. Netting means network address translation. So because firewall also have the public IP address, right? So what we will do, I am here with my laptop. So I am not able to go directly to the VM because this route is invalid. So I'm not able to connect this VM, right? And this route is basically active, but on the firewall, all the traffic are blocked. So in any way, I'm not able to access this VM. So what I will do, I will create a NAT rule on the firewall, network address translation. I will connect this firewall public IP. I will connect this firewall public IP. After then firewall will transfer or map the traffic to the VM private IP. So through this way, I can able to connect. I'll go to the firewall public IP, and then it will forward traffic to VM, right? So how you can do that? This is called a netting. So go to the firewall. This is your firewall. And then click on firewall policy that you have created. So within the firewall policy, we will create a rule. Inside the firewall policy, we have netting rule, we have network rule, we have application rule. So I'm going to create a DNAT rule, that is also called a netting rule. So add a rule, give the rule name. So I'm giving the rule name like NAT VM1 because I'm going to connect the VM1. So I'm giving the NAT VM1 and priority is 100. Here you can give the name. So I'm giving the name VM1 RDP. Source is the IP address. Source should be a star. It means from many location. I can also connect. You can also connect. So source should be anything. So I'm giving here a star. Then protocol TCP. Destination protocol. Destination protocol is firewall. So from here, I'm going to firewall public IP. So this is my destination. Firewall public IP. Destination protocol is basically 3389. IP is destination IP is firewall public IP. Translated address. So firewall public IP will be translate to VM private IP, right? So what is the VM private IP? VM private IP is 10.1.0.4, right? So VM private IP 10.1.0.4. Then the translated port on the same 3389 for the RDP. Once again, check it out. Source is a star. It means any IP address, any traffic generating from any computer, any laptop. Protocol TCP destination port 3389. Destination IP address is firewall public IP. Translated IP address virtual machine private IP, and translated port is 3389. Then click add. So it will create one NAT rule, and after then I could able to connect the VM.
So, sir, with DNAT rule, this will allow all the IP to access the VM.
No,
like
yeah, all the IP on a port 3389, correct.
Yeah, so it will not be like now it is not doing any filtering on firewall.
Correct, correct.
So when we have to block any particular domain name or something like that, then we'll do other rule.
Yeah, we have another other rule that is called application rule.
Okay.
So it is still going on. You can wait. It takes time to create a rule. Okay, so rule has been created, NAT rule. Now try to connect this VM. So this time you will take the RDP to firewall public IP, right? Not the VM, firewall public IP. See, it is asking for username password. It is connecting. VM admin. Yes. So I am able to connect the VM1 through the netting. Now we'll open google.com within the VM. So you can see now I am not able to access the google.com because it's going to the firewall, and the firewall it is dropped, it is blocked. Action deny. Let's suppose I try to open yahoo.com. Same. Try to connect microsoft.com. Same. All the traffic on the firewall is blocked. So within the VM, I could not able to open any website. If I need to open any website, then I need to create a rule. That rule is called application rule, this one. So under the application rule, I need to create a rule. Click add rule collection, give the rule name Google, and priority is 100. Action is allow. I am allowing that. By default, it is blocked. Rule connection group is the application rule. Give the name Google once again. Rule name Google. IP address source IP address is a star. protocol HTTP and HTTPS, HTTP, comma, HTTPS, both 443 and 80. Then FQDN. FQDN is www.google.com. www.google.com. We'll also create one more rule for the Yahoo. Same HTTP and HTTPS, and this time www.yahoo.com. So I am creating two rules, one for the Google opening, another for yahoo.com opening, and add it. Okay, so new rule is created. So if I go to here on a VM, and this time try to open the google.com. See, you are able to open, right? I am able to open yahoo.com. I have created rule for Yahoo that is also opening. It should be open. Okay, it's not opening. Why? Rule is I have given something different. Okay, leave it. Microsoft is not opening because for the Microsoft I have not created any rule. So I am able to open the Yahoo google.com because I have created rule to allow that. I have also created a rule to allow the yahoo.com, www.yahoo.com. But it is not opening. Maybe some mistake I have given here. HTTPS, let's try HTTPS. No, it's not working. So in a rule, what I did the mistake. Okay. I have created both the rule for the HTTP and HTTPS should I do. It's a HTTPS and HTTPS, right? And rest everything is fine. So this is basically I did this mistake. But if you do that, it will work. So whatever the rule you will create here, those website will open, rest everything will be blocked by default. Similar way, if you want to create a network rule, like you want to allow the DNS traffic, you can create a network rule like a DNS, your DHCP, all are working on a network layer. So let's suppose I want to allow the network traffic, DNS traffic, then you can create a network rule. DNS source star protocol TCP because DNS work under the TCP. Then port DNS work on port 53. So give the port 53. Destination IP address is star also. So any IP address on any destination source, any destination, any on a port 53 that will be allowed. That will be allowed. So port 53 is related to your DNS. So this is the way you can manage your firewall, right? So now we'll take 5 minutes break.
Sir,
And yeah, please.
like some particular site only I want to ban. Like I don't want.
No. In a firewall, everything is blocked. You allow some particular site.
Okay. But when we say like in some offices and all, you see there is no Facebook allowed. There is no
everything is blocked. So here there is
trading
no
or anything is not allowed. The rest all is open. Like Google is there, everything is there.
Right. So by default, everything is blocked. Facebook block, YouTube block. Out of that, if you want 50 websites should be open, like Yahoo, like Google, like a training, like a Microsoft, then you can open those website only, 50 or 100 website.
Okay, so here we are only allowing, we are not denying. Like
No, you can also denying it.
Rule.
You can create a deny rule, but I am saying everything already denied. If you create
by
a rule,
default it is everything is not not allowed.
Yeah, so already deny. So why you create a deny rule again, right? So
Okay, then
already
what is the option? Like there's no use of
option
this
is,
option.
yeah, option is that let's suppose I have allowed 100 website,
Mm-hmm.
right? Out of 100 website, after a couple of days, we figure out that we should block some of the website that I am receiving some unauthorized traffic, or I am receiving some bad traffic, or traffic that hacking try to hack. So I will purposefully block that website, right? So that is in a reverse way. Another thing is that you should allow everything in reverse way. I am giving you allow everything. So here under the allow, if you give a star, then all the traffic will be allow, all the traffic will be allow, all the website will be allow. If I type here a star dot a star, star dot a star, it means all traffic will be allowed, and after then you can block, but that is not a good practice. The purpose of the firewall is blocked. It should be block everything. So let's suppose you have a guard at your office on the gate, on a gate. You have a guards. So
Mm.
by default, guards duty is to block every person. He should ask every person to show the identity card. It's their duty. It's a basically purpose of that one. That is a firewall. The guard is like a firewall, right?
Okay.
So someone he have the authorized I card, they can only allow those person. So in any industry, by default, if I am using the firewall in my company, I by default I have blocked everything. I have not allowed. I have allowed only authorized traffic, only authorized website. So this is the practice. It's a good practice. If someone doing the reverse way, that is not recommended. He is doing wrong, because if you let's suppose you allow all the traffic, you don't know from where, from
Threat will come. Yes.
yeah, how attacker and hackers coming from which way,
Mhm.
right? So that's why, right?
Only network rules, sir. I didn't get like what is the purpose of it?
Network rule, it
DNet
means
is understood that okay, we are not directly connecting to the VM. We are
mhm,
going through firewall, so we are translating those network addresses like IP address of
right. So we
firewall
have
to private IP
correct,
address of VM.
right,
Application rule is we want to block certain or we want to allow certain
certain website,
websites.
right,
So we are creating rules to allow through application rule.
right.
What is the purpose of network rule?
Purpose of network is there are, the in a OSI model we have application rule in a top application layer, that is your HTTP and HTTPS working on
Okay,
the
okay.
application layer. On a network layer, you have the network protocol, TCP/IP protocol working on a network layer like a DNS for the
Hmm.
name resolution. So if I block the DNS, then my system will not able to resolve the IP address. It will not work.
Okay. So it is like that what concept of this layered approach of defense, no?
Yes,
So
it will protect your network layer also.
network layer it will protect. This will be protecting our application.
Layer, right? So application layer, network layer. So on a network layer, if you want to allow any traffic, you should allow it like a DNS, like a DSCP, like RDP. You should allow that traffic.
I'm so little weak on this network side. That is why
And
it's
no issue.
little difficult to follow a little bit.
Yeah, network basically you should work on the port. It is basically network port, not network layer IP address. Network layer protocols. So these are the basically application layer, like this is your OSI layer, right?
Hmm.
Application layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer. So on a network layer, you have a DNS, you have a telnet, uh, you have like this one here. Network layer is IP, ARP, and DNS also. It's giving the wrong information here. It's not a correct one in a table. So TCP/IP layer on a application layer, it's mentioned the DNS. That is wrong. DNS is not on a application layer. DNS is work on the network layer. Telnet work on application layer, FTP work on application layer. That's fine. But DNS is not work. DNS work on a network layer. So this is totally wrong here. Then another, you have a network layer, that is a IP ping, ICMP. So ICMP is your ping command. You ping something, right? Ping.yahoo.com or ping google.com. So if you want to allow the ping or ICMP, then it is on a network layer. So that is fine here, but this should be here. So this is a wrong. This is a wrong one. Let's say this tutorial. ARP is a network layer. So these are the network layer protocol. And DNS, ICMP is a network layer, correct? And DNS is DNS, this one. So as per the domain name, it's giving the application, right? So again, this is a different concept here. It's a, but it's saying that domain name system like yahoo.com, google.com. So if you're talking about the URL, then it is definitely it's application layer. But the DNS traffic for the name resolution, it is not under the application, it is under the your network layer. So again, it's wrong here. It's a taking about the URL. What we have did here, a URL.
In
right?
application, we did that.
Yeah. So that is right. But DNS traffic is not working on a application layer. It is working on a network layer. So it is basically giving you you can misunderstood. It's not correct one. DNS traffic. So DNS, what type of traffic DNS have? See here it's saying correct one. DNS is protocol port 53. Right, it's saying the correct one. So traffic is going to the port 53, but DNS is related to your domain name. If it is a domain name, then it is application. So if you want to allow the domain name like Yahoo URL, then you can open the application. But if you allow the DNS traffic, I am particular saying the DNS traffic, then you should open the in a network layer, in a network, not in application.
So we are making this port open for the traffic.
Yes, DNS traffic.
Okay. And sir, which port 80 or port 53? Is there any quick reference where we can?
Same. You need to no quick reference, but you can see here TCP IP ports number or list. You can see here. This is your list. So generally we use port 80s frequently. Port 80, 443, FTP, their SMTP 25, DNS 53, DHCP 67, RDP is port 3389. So these are the basically common 10 to 15 protocol we have a common that used in generally, but the list is too long.
Okay.
So common protocol we use that here, like DNS on a port 53. Then you have DHCP port 67. Then you have RDP remote desktop 3389. Then you have a web like a URL like HTTP port 80, HTTPS 443. Then you have like FTP, let's say 22, 21 and 22 both. FTP is 21 and 22 both. Then Okay. Then you have SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol. When you send the mail, sending mail is working on a port 25. When you receiving the mail, that is called POP3. Receiving mail, it is working on port 110. Then you have a Active Directory, AD, or LDAP, it is working on port 389. Authentication, Kerberos protocol, that is for authentication. It is working on port 88. So these are the common protocol, basically. Right?
Thank you. This is helpful.
Good one. So we will take a 5 minutes break, then, or we will continue. Don't take a 5 breaks. We'll start a new topic that is called a SQL database. SQL database. So SQL database, there are two ways. Either you can create a virtual machine, VM, and then you can install the SQL database. That is called a infrastructure as a service. So if you do this way, this is called an infrastructure service. You will create a VM, you will install the SQL database. But here I am talking about the platform as a service. Platform as a service, it means directly you can create a SQL database. Directly you can create a SQL database without managing any virtual machine. Obviously there is a VM. Obviously there is a VM, but this VM will be managed by the Microsoft. This VM will be managed by the Microsoft. You are not managing that. You only manage your SQL database. That's why it is called a platform as a service, PaaS. Meaning Microsoft will provide you one platform. Over that you create your database and you can manage that. That is called a platform as a service. Here it is called an infrastructure service. So today we are going to see platform as a service. Directly we will create a SQL database without managing any VM. Although we will create a VM, but that will be managed by Microsoft. So how you can do that? Go to the portal here. Before that, we'll delete everything. Otherwise, again, it will basically increase my cost. Firewall is very costly. We'll select all resource. Okay, error, the error. Okay, now we'll create a SQL database. So click on here, menu, then click on SQL database. This is a platform as a service. You can directly create a SQL database without managing any VM, without creating any VM. Click on create. Then give the resource group name. So we'll use the same resource group. Select the resource group here. I have created firewall RJ, will create within the same. Then database name, I am giving the name AJDUSTDB009. This is my database name. And database created on which server? That server you will create, but you will not manage. So create a new server. Server name is AJDB server 009. And that I am creating in South India. So we'll select the South India. Then use a SQL authentication. So we'll give the admin name is SQL admin. And the password we are giving here, password. So it also asks for the password. We'll use this password. Then click OK. So I have given the resource group name, database name, server name, but I am not basically know the server is on a Windows or Linux. We don't have any information, right? The server is managed by the Microsoft. Just I have given the name and the authentication username and password. Then want to use a SQL Elastic Pool? No, Elastic Pool is basically collection of your SQL CPU and RAM. And whenever SQL database need additional resource, it will pull in from or taken from the Elastic Pool. I'm not going to create Elastic Pool. And this is your size of your database, generation 5, 2 virtual machine, 2 core CPU, and 32 GB of RAM. I don't need such. So I will go to the configure database and we'll use the small size. So in a service tier, you can select the size here. I'm using the basic. The cost of the basic is around 300. So under the basic, I have 5 DTU and 2 GB of database size. That is good enough for the demo. The cost is 366 rupees per month. Apply. So I have changed the size. Default size is something else, but I have selected the basic. Then replication of the backup. It will automatically take the backup because it is a PaaS service. So Microsoft will automatically take the backup of your database automatically take the backup of your database. So the backup redundancy is the geo. I don't want that in a production environment. It is a good option, but for the training, for the reduce the cost, I can select the locally. Then go with the networking. By default, your database does not have any access, no access. So we can use go with the default. There is no access on that. Security by default does not have Microsoft Defender enabled, right? So if you want to enable the Microsoft Defender for SQL database, you can use that. That is a free for the trial, but after then you have to pay for 1,000 rupees per server per month. This is a cost. So we'll go with the default, not now. And then additional configuration. By default, it is a blank database, totally blank. And then review and create. That's it. So this is estimated cost of the database per month. Click on create. Okay, now it is created. Go to resource. So this is your database. And you can connect the database and you can run the query here directly on a portal. Go to the query editor and here you can give the login ID, SQL admin, and password. And click OK. So basically, select a certificate to authenticate your this one. It's saying that to select the certificate, cancel it. As of now, I'm not going to select any certificate. So it's saying that can't open the server request by the client IP address. This one, this is my IP address. So it's saying that from this IP address, the server is not connecting because it is a stop on the firewall. It is a stop on a firewall. So I need to open a firewall rule. So how you can do that? Go to the overview. And here you can see there is a set server firewall. So very beginning, when you create a firewall, when you create a SQL database, and after then your database engineer try to connect. So you need to add their IP address under the firewall. You should allow their IP address under the firewall. Don't know why, but it's very slow URL responding. And here you need to basically add your IP address here. Add your client IP address. So all the IP address you need to add here if you want to connect the database. So I have added my IP address. You can also add other IP address for your other database developer or database administrator. And then you can click here, save. So I have added my IP address under the rule, allowed certain IP address, this one. After then I can try to connect the VM again. Also allow the other Azure services. Other Azure services means if I want to copy data from SQL database to Azure storage account, in that case I need to allow this one. Then go to the database and try again to run the query editor. So this is a security database security. By default, all the traffic is blocked. So under the firewall, you need to add IP address of your database developer or administrator. Then you can give the password here. And this time I could able to connect. See, now I'm able to connect. I can create a table. I can view that. So these are the basically database rule. And this is a table. There is no table here, totally blank. I can create a new query. I can run the query here. So I mean that you can see that now I am connecting the database. So this is within the portal. But if you want to connect the database from your local system, in that case, you should use the client, that is a SQL Server Management Studio. You need to use a Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio to connect your database, Azure database. So I'm opening this one, and then from there we will connect. So it is opening. After then you can also see the connection string. So this is your connection, so database connection string. So you can use the connection string inside your application. So if you have a web application or any other application that need a database to store the data, you can use this connection string. This is for ADO.NET, this is for Java, this is for ODBC, this is a PHP. So there are multiple or different types of connection string you have that you can use inside your application to connect this database. Now, you also have compute and storage. Right now I have a size of 2 GB. So if you need a more database size in the future, you can change the size from here. You can select a new size, right? And you can change the size from here, like 80 core or 408 GB of memory, right? Or the maximum database size is up to 1 TB. So that you can change anytime. You can increase the database size anytime. Then you have a connection string, same thing, we have discussed that. Now replica, what is the replica means? Replica means database will create additional replica means the backup database. So right now we don't have any replica database, but you can create. It will increase your cost obviously, because in that case you have two database, but it will give you a fault tolerance. What I mean, if your primary database will down, then you can connect your secondary database, your replica database you can connect, right? You can your application can connect your secondary database. Your database engineer can connect to secondary database. So you can create a replica from here also. Replica, that's why it have the same primary database, region, database name, server, everything is the same right here. And it's saying that uh, database with the same name is already exist on this server. So you can create a new server because you are creating a replica. So if the server will down, then all database will down. So you will create a new server, but database name should be same. So you can create a new server from here. Server name is AZDB server 10. I'm giving the 10. South India, same location. Then SQL admin is your username, then password. And then click OK. So it will create a new SQL server in a South India location. And then the same size basic. Backup is also locally redundant. Next, networking. Leave it default. Everything default. Create. And also check this one. This is started or not. Now it is started. So we'll use that.
Excuse me, sir. We are doing this LRS also, no? So LRS and again the replica.
LRS, that is for the backup. So once your database is backed up, that backed up data, the backup data is keep under the LRS. That is a backup data. Replica, it means it will create another database.
Okay.
Right. So let's suppose you have your primary database, and if it's down and you have the backup. So from the backup, you can create a new database. That's fine. From the backup, you can create, but that will take some time. So what I'm saying, you can create a replica, a DR database, disaster recovery database. So replica database is inactive. It is only read only. And the data from your primary to replica is replicated in a live 24/7. And once your primary will down, then you can use your replica database to store your data or to access your data. That is the benefit of the replica database. It's an additional database.
It is like means I have another standby.
Correct.
So this will be like here also we have mode like a hot code or something like that, no?
Hot tier, you are saying hot tier and cool tier. That you are asking?
And no tier means standby mode also sometimes.
Yeah, this so
immediately it is available.
Correct. It is basically active passive, but it is also failover. So immediately it will come active. It is already active, but you could not able to connect. Once the primary will down, then only you can connect.
Okay.
So it is creating. Meanwhile, we'll connect to the primary only as of now. It's creating a new database here. You can see two database. One is your primary, another is your replica. So here, this is your primary database, and I will come back on the replica. It is still creating, so we will come back. Till that time, we will discuss how to connect this database from the Visual Studio, from the your SQL Server Management Studio. So you can see your server name. This is your server, right? So you can click on that. The server name, it is coming up. Still, it is not ready. So we wait. This and this is the name of your server. So copy that SQL Server and then go to your SQL Server Management Studio here. And here you can mention the server name and then give the password and click connect. So it will connect your Azure database. And after then, if you are a developer, you can create a table query, right? So this is your database, this one. And here you have everything. You have a table. You can, if you want, you can create a new table. So now it's database developer job or administrator job. So till the you can connect it, right? So this is the way you can manage that, create a table.
It will be administrator role to create the database.
Yeah,
Server.
database.
And he will give all the credential to the developer to
correct,
use it.
correct. After then, developer will basically connect the database DBA, that is developer will connect your database and then they can create a table or they can manage that. So now come back on your replica. On a replica, now I have a replica here. It's a created. This is my primary in a South India and it is online. And this is a secondary. This is in a readable. So from the primary data is going to the secondary, right? And if the primary will down due to any reason, if the primary will down, then I can do the failover here. I can do the failover. Once you do the failover, then your secondary will be active online and primary will be basically inactive.
So this manually we have to do?
You can do the manually, you can also do the automatically, but for the automatically you need to create the group, right? You need to create a group.
Group in the sense?
In the sense the failover group. So here you can see there is a failover group. So you can do the saying that geo replication reside different logical server from the primary and protected against the regional failure or so you can create a
That is for geo replica because it is under geo replica.
correct. So I am going here also. It's you can do the automatically also. So feature I maybe it's I have using the basic. So under the basic or geo, so it's the same region. I am not created in different region. So if you do the different region, then you also have automatically feature. Automatically you can do that. Wait for a couple of minutes. I'll check it out the basic support or not.
So the best practice should be like it should take automatically, no? I need not.
Yeah, definitely you can do the best practices automatically. So here, if you create that, the basic is not supported and it is basically in the same region. So you can do the automatically also auto failover in a SQL database. Definitely we have that in a production environment, we'll do that, but in a lab, I'm not wanted to configure such feature. Azure SQL database auto failover. This one. So failover group. As I told you, we need to create a group. So once you create a failover group, then it will automatically it will do that. So you need to create a or configure the auto failover group. That's one. Automatic failover. How you can do that? Use a failover group and a firewall role. So create a public load balancer, virtual network. These all are basically SQL database server. So this is the way you can create a failover group. Go to the Azure SQL database. Then this is you are in the database, and here you can click on a server. So once you in a server, then click on failover group. So it will basically change the feature. So here, so go to the SQL database here. This is your database. Then you need to go to the server. Inside the server, on a server you can have multiple database. Right now on this server I have only one database. You can have multiple. So if your server down, all database will down. So in that case you can create a failover group from here. Add a group. So failover group name, you can give the failover group name, like I'm giving the name my db fail over. Then you can already in use. Okay, 09 I'm giving here. Then select the server name. So we have two servers. 09 is my primary, right? And we have 010 also. So for the 09, we are going to create a failover. So select the 09. You cannot choose the same server. Okay, so 10 is my replica. So primary is on a 09, secondary is the 010. That is a replica. So selected replica. You cannot choose a server from the same region. That's a problem, right? Now you got it?
Yeah, so we have to select from
Other region. Basically, I have created in the
when
same
you
region.
were selecting that same reason, I was thinking that same thing because it is the same reason means how that replicate.
Yeah, in the same region, there is no basically concept. Yeah.
It will be like LRS, no? So almost if that fails means this can also fail.
Yeah, but you understand that you can create automatically. Okay. You can collect that, and you can basically automatically you can do the failover, not manually. And read write grace period you can give like 1 hour. Within the 1 hour, it will do that and then create. So this is the way you can manage your SQL database from the Azure portal. Now I have two SQL database. One is the primary, another is the replica. So this is my primary and this is my replica, right? Correct one, correct?
Yes.
Okay, then fine. So now we'll wind up the session. So today we have discussed about the firewall and the SQL database. Tomorrow we will discuss web application. That is also a PaaS service. You can create a website without creating any or without managing any VM. So that is also a PaaS. So that we will discuss tomorrow. Okay then, fine. Okay, thanks Nutan, thanks Partusa. We'll just meet it tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.